Well, the project for today is going to be insulating the barn. This is a 40 by 64 building. It's a pole barn construction. We put batt insulation in the walls and we hung the ceiling. There is no insulation in the ceiling right now. It's 7/16 sheathing. It's OSB. So I figured up the amount of insulation that I need and then multiplied that by an additional 25%. I'm shooting for 12 inches. In the past, whenever I've done insulation, I have always come up short. So I figure an extra 25%. We just did the garage in the house, or the attached garage on the house a few minutes ago. I figured an extra 25% on that, and I ran a bag short. So we stole a bag from out here. So what we're blowing is just the standard cellulose stuff. It typically comes in 25-pound bags. Kind of interestingly, they sent me, this was from my local Do It Best store. I ordered 232 bags total, and of them they sent me 2 different manufacturers, and the sizing on their bags is pretty dramatically different. So this Pro Shred stuff looks like the bags are about 8 inches shorter than these bags. They appear to be a lot more compact. So there's 48 on that skid. The skid next to it only has 40 bags on it, but they're supposed to be the same coverage per bag. So just a little bit interesting difference between 2 manufacturers. We're using this force tube blower rather than the little square metal boxes that you get from most of the rental places or your Do It Best stores. When you buy the insulation, you get, if you buy 30 bags or whatever, you get the use of a blower for a day for free. Normally in the past, when we've blown insulation, we use those little square boxes and they take forever. This unit, we just did 53 bags over in the attached garage, and it took about an hour and 15 minutes to blow 53 bags. So, and that was shutting it off, turning it on a few different times, getting resituated. That was also with this plate set at about, right now it's about 3/4 open. For about half of that last project, it was about halfway open. So we're going to start out at 3/4 open here, but because this is such a much larger open area, I expect to be able to blow this a lot faster. So we're going to start out at 3/4 open now, but I would imagine we're probably going to pull that plate all the way out, which doesn't condition the material as much, but it'll get it blown through there a lot quicker. We're going to be using, it's almost 100 feet of hose, I think is what I've got set up here. And that should just reach to the end of the building. Now, if I were using a much shorter length of hose, I probably wouldn't be so apt to pull that plate out. But a longer piece of hose should allow the material to be conditioned. The longer it's in the hose, the more it's getting beat around, the more it's getting fluffed up. So it's actually, the material is being conditioned as it's traveling through the hose. So with a long hose, I feel like we can pull a plate out and still get the material conditioned very well. So again, I figured an extra 25%. We should have roughly 180 bags to blow, and I'll get you guys set up. It won't do any good to set you up upstairs. This camera does such a poor job in the dark. I'm just going to be using a headlamp. I'm wearing a sweatshirt, and where's my respirator? So the guys down here on the ground, there's been 3 of them feeding it, and they're wearing half-face respirators. It gets a little dusty. It gets in your eyes a little bit. Again, this is not the first time we've played this game with this blown cellulose stuff. It gets really, really dusty up in the attic, and a few years ago I bought a full-face respirator, and this is the cat's ass. This is what you want to use. It does a great job of filtering what you're breathing. I mean, you don't get any particulates at all. You don't breathe any particulates. But the thing that it also does that I hadn't really anticipated how well it does is keep your vision clear. So like you can be in a storm of dust up there and see just fine as long as you've got a headlight good enough to cut through the dust. I would highly recommend this. This was, they're kind of hard to come by. They're a little bit expensive. I think I give about 110 bucks a few years ago for that. I don't know what they'd cost right now, but it uses the same, the same cartridges as these half-face respirators. So the guys down here be wearing respirators and dust masks. I'll be wearing the full face up there because it is so dusty up there. I'm going to get you guys set up. You can see how fast that they're feeding this. And again, this machine is much, much faster than those little square boxes. If we were going to be doing this same project with one of those little square boxes you get from Home Depot or whatever, the typical insulation blowers, I was actually planning on, before I knew my home center had this available, I was planning on breaking this project into 2 weekends because we're blowing 230 bags. With those other blowers, it takes like, I don't know, like 2, 3, 4 minutes sometimes. I'm not entirely sure, but you end up waiting on the machine more than anything. Where this one, we're not waiting on the machine. So I'll get you guys set up. You can see how fast they're feeding down here. And again, it won't do any good to see what I'm doing up there because you won't be able to see with this camera on with all that dust and everything. So let's get busy. Again, whatever it takes to make you guys comfortable down here.
There's that one in there. I got another one. I don't know where it was. I got more.
Well, we're all done. Got the machine cleaned up, ready to go back to the rental place tomorrow. We've actually been done for a few hours. The guys left, and then I went inside, took a shower, ate supper, and sat around for a couple hours. So just came back out to make this video. The guys in the video were my brother-in-law and his two sons. And I know you guys are watching this video. Again, thank you so much for all your help today. I could not have done this without you. So what we did out here today was we blew 180 bags of insulation up in this ceiling. And I may have misspoken earlier in this video. I might have got my math a little bit confused because we did the attached garage on my house this morning. Then we moved everything out and to do the building here. But we did 52 bags on the house, and we came out here and did 180 bags. As far as time, it took us 4 hours to blow this out here. 4 hours for 180 bags, averaged out, each bag took 1 minute, 20 seconds. Now that machine, the yard told me that that machine is rated at 90 bags per hour. That's not what we saw on our average. That may be what it does, continuously feeding it. And we'll have to watch the video, see how fast my nephew was feeding it. It may be that the machine runs that fast, but over that 4 hour time, I would shut the machine off, move the hoses around, shut the machine off. The remote wire would get tangled in the hoses, and it's a bear to wrangle that hose around up there. So we did shut the machine off kind of frequently, not for very long duration, but anyhow, that was our experience here. Now, as far as the bags, how I figured up how much material that I would need for this project, I looked at the chart on the bag at the hardware store, and this has been a few weeks ago. Then I came home and I did math here at the house. So I looked up that chart, I looked up some other stuff online, and they were all coming out about the same coverage. Across the different manufacturers, across different suppliers and stuff like that, Home Depot, the Do It Best stores, the Menards and all those different ones, they all seem like they use about a 25-pound bag. So, and the coverage that they all kind of suggest is at 12 inches of depth on your insulation, you're getting about a 38 or a 40 on your R value. And the coverage that I would need for this building, according to those charts, on the square footage that I have here, it came out to needing about 140 some bags. And I can't remember exact numbers off the top of my head. It's been a little while since I figured that up. Well, I took that number and multiplied it by an additional 25%, and that's how I got 180 bags. So, how did I get that extra 25%? That was from experience. And that seems like a lot, but man, I'm telling you, it come out just right. And this is unfortunately not our first rodeo with blowing insulation. My brother-in-law built his house and then did a couple of outbuildings and stuff like that, and we've blown insulation in all those. We've done projects at my old place, a couple of additions, big garage addition. So we've blown insulation a lot of times, and if you don't add that extra 25%, you end up running out. And it's not like I got a bunch of heavy spots up there, because I would probe it as I would go periodically. And I mean, it's 12 inches of good coverage, and that's just our experience. So the material, you'll note, or you'll remember, we had two different manufacturers. We had that Pro Shreds, and then we had that there were like clear bags with red lettering. I don't remember what the brand was on those. The coverage seemed to be about the same between the two, but the Pro Shreds was dustier. I don't know, maybe just something in their process. As far as this machine, this Force 2, we started out with the restrictor plate 3/4 of the way open, and we only blew for a very short time. It was like, man, this thing is not doing as fast as I'd hoped it would. We pulled the plate out all the way then, and it didn't seem like it changed anything at all. It seemed like it was still going through you know, just as fast. It didn't seem like it mattered in the speed of consumption at all. It didn't seem like the material was being conditioned any differently. So, you know, there's that. It's faster than the little square units that you get. You know, most of the insulation blowers, these little rectangular boxes, they're a bitch to load. The mouth on them is not big enough. They really make a mess, and they're just kind of a pain to deal with. This one it's a whole lot easier to load. The mouth is a lot bigger. You don't have to deal with that grate down in there. Well, now we put all the cords and everything in here, but it's a much larger cavity, so I prefer this unit much more than those little ones. So anyhow, I know this video was not very entertaining. I'm just trying to put this information out there for you guys that might be, you know, looking to do a project like this. So if you got any questions, leave them down below. I'd be glad to help any way I can. If you did like this video, click the thumbs up button. If you want to see more videos of me working on all kinds of stuff out here in the garage, click the subscribe button. Until the next time, guys, keep on tinkering.